it's all pressure for SKillous. He must win this as we get it started. We will go to the bottom left to start us off, though, with the red Zerg player. It is Lambo.
Top right-hand side, all of the underdogs are winning. Will he be included in this group? It is SKillous. You see, Wardy, if we did a Venn diagram of underdogs, and you said all the underdogs are winning, isn't that good news for SKillous?
No, because he needs the underdogs to lose. Because they're the guys that can overtake him. But he's an underdog. Oh, I see.
And if he wins, he doesn't need no underdogs.
I mean, statistically speaking, then I guess you're correct. It's looking good for him.
Looking great for SKillous in an underdog day.
1 minute in, and SKillous has already got the advantage in the series. I love it.
Incredible.
This is the StarCraft I live for.
Yep, metaphorical and literal as well, because he blocked that hatchery. What a wonderful move.
Fantastic start. Always nice to get that hatch block off, although I feel like nowadays Zergs are just accepting that their first hatchery is going on the third base. You know, they're just like, well, that's life nowadays. We don't get to build on the natural any longer.
Yeah, I usually build it on the other third base, the one with the gas.
Yeah.
On this map in particular, they're kind of close-ish to each other, really. The third base without the Rich Vespin Geyser and the third base with the Rich Vespin Geyser. A little bit more risky to take the one with a Rich Vespin Geyser. But, you know, if they're going to punish me, I punish back.
I mean, you got so much gas, what they're going to punch you with, right? You can get all that tech up. Feels good. All right, well, I'm actually interested to see what SKillous comes out with, because as I was saying in the pre-show, we really do see SKillous kind of playing not really off meta, but still his kind of own brand of the meta. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a bit of double Stargate Phoenix here, even, you know, to really switch it up off a Stargate opener. But I would expect at some point to see one of the Twilight openers, either the Glaive Adepts or the Dark Templar.
Indeed. I wonder why Lambo's wearing the Sad Keg, by the way. I feel like if there's an emote you don't want to wear in a tournament where you're supposed to win is the Sad Keg. It sets the mood wrong, Wardy.
Because he's got no team. That's why. It's his team logo, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. He's feeling good about the tournament. He just can't believe he still doesn't have a team after he was the Serral Slayer just the other day.
That's crazy. Teams out there, please.
Yeah.
And we have two adepts here. What are I think Lambo's waiting for this to move out with the two circlings really diligently. But I mean, if you're SKillous, you do want to move out with this, or do you think he's waiting for the Dark Shrine to kick in? I'm not sure what's up with those two adepts.
Yeah. I think he's just playing it very safe because he's playing Twilight. He's a little afraid Lambo might get very aggressive. He doesn't want to be out on the map and caught by Ling Speed. Then you lose the Adepts, and then you just tag for like a Ling Flood or a few other things. So he's just going to wait until the Dark Shrine is up. And then those two Adepts can go into one mineral line when the DTs hit the other. And that gives you that multi-pronged aggression that makes it just a little bit scarier as well. So pretty standard, although no Robo Facility, right? Which is a big kind of gap in what you'd usually see. So this is not kind of your typical Archon drop. This is just going to be DTs walking across the map and a much faster third base than usual, which Lambo scouts instantly.
I actually love this. This is actually defensive DTs. So he's inviting Lambo to be aggressive towards a third base. But if you're going to be aggressive towards this third base, you're probably not going to have a lair ready, overseers ready, right? So I think this is what that is. I think this is defensive DTs that we're seeing, and I love it. I mean, look at how diligent Lambo is at looking for that Warp Prism with the links, at basically scouting everything that moves out. But what if you just don't move out?
What if you just don't move out? Fun little game that SKillous is playing. And Lambo, I mean, the idea is as well, though, right? What if Lambo just doesn't? What if Lambo just doesn't attack? He can also just drone up because he sees the third so early, and that would actually be the perfect call against what is now double Stargate as well. There's really very little on the ground frontal pressure coming, right? Yes, there's going to be some harassment from Phoenix, etc., but there's not going to be a large attack he has to worry about. So this should give Lambo freedom to make a lot of drones. He's going to add a few links in here and there, and I don't mind a bit of pressure on the third base.
Yeah, I love it. It's going to be Phoenixes, as you were foreshadowing, and there is a shadow moving into the third, but it's going to get caught by Lambo. I mean, we were talking about these players knowing each other too. And I think you're spot on. I mean, this was the perfect reaction by Lambo himself. It's not like SKillous is going to fall too far behind because he's so greedy himself. But we're definitely headed towards a macro game here, Wardy.
Yeah, this is just both players expediting their economy. Obviously, those Phoenix are going to be a pain in the side for Lambo, but nothing that should just straight up kill him. Maybe they put him in a bad position to then die a little bit later on. But yeah, for the moment, we're definitely going to macro on up, get into a nice, fun game, and basically wait to see what is next, which for the moment for SKillous is going to be that Robo, and Lambo just investing into the Banal Nest alongside the Rotron. Nice catch on this DT. Just getting rid of that allows him to take the 4th base in that rich Vespene Geyser base as well, so he's going to have plenty of gas on his side.
Yeah, update from the chat to back to the chat. So this is a full circle update. It seems as though as if Serral defeated Stefano 2-1. So send your energy to SKillous because that's SKillous energy, right?
Yeah, that's good for SKillous. It's one of the players now that can't overtake him. Still relying on a couple of other results there to come into play and to be active too. That also, by the way, just completely decides top 2 of this group. Now Lambo cannot overtake Serral for 1st place. So Lambo guaranteed 2nd place as well.
Amazing. Hey, that's not too bad. Oh, as long as he doesn't lose any Phoenix.
Yeah, a few drones going down. Is able to get a couple of those and then get away. So that's it's a good effort to start us off there for sure.
It's pretty good. I mean, he's not far behind in workers. Now he's pretty much equalized the workers. Well, not anymore. Lambo is droning up like a madman, really, upon seeing the Phoenix. This is one of the old school responses to Phoenix, is just ignore that they exist and make more drones.
Yeah, and it really is just more drones, right? There's 81 drones on the map at the moment from Lambo here. As 2 Colossi on the way, so SKillous going to go Colossi. Colossi against kind of Hydroling Bane can work if you get to a good number, but I always feel there's like that scary moment or two where you're only on 2 Colossi, and if the Zerg can find a way to fight right there, the Colossi just don't kill enough fast enough, and you get overwhelmed, especially if you're going into Colossi after Phoenix. You're going to be very reliant on those Phoenix lifting up a lot of the Hydras. If there's a little bit of a linger run by, just going to go for a pylon. Actually, it's kind of nice just forcing the Phoenix A back, and then even using their lifts on the Lings is very inefficient use of energy.
Definitely, but it's putting the energy to some use, at least. It's going to be difficult otherwise, so it's not the worst thing, but I agree. I mean, bringing back the Phoenix is not what he wants. However, he is on double Robo, Wardy, and that's why I think we're not going to see that window that you were talking about exploited this game. It's going to be very difficult for Lambo, who, like you mentioned, went up to 80 workers. So he's going to have to just kind of sit back and wait a little bit. And I think this will buy SKillous the time to get out whatever army he's trying to get out. It's I think it's on Lambo now to make the decision to go later into Hive and get something like Vipers to start accounting for the double Robo.
Yeah, I mean, the Lurkers definitely help out there as well, because they should stop a lot of the push forward from SKillous for a little while, or at least slow it down a little bit. And that then gives them the time to get up into that Hive a little bit more easily. You know, you're not under pressure waiting for the Vipers to get enough energy. So that's nice. I like the way he's approaching it, right? Lambo just says, you know, I'm very confident in a longer game that gets a bit more drawn out. You know, I'm very comfortable to kind of play. You know, I don't feel the need to basically just say, let's get across the map, let's kill you before you get all of your tech and all of your splash damage up and running.
Absolutely. Are you a Lambro?
A Lambro? I think I am right now, yeah.
That's awesome. I'm a Lambro too.
Yeah. Lambros unite.
Lambros unite.
As a couple queens get taken down in the center, SKillous has pushed through this top side. It's a little scary. I mean, a couple of queens lost. Love the Link dive by. Actually is going to force SKillous to turn around. Otherwise would have been a pretty nice hit on that 4th base. Might have been able to get a kill. Now we've got Lings actually heading to the natural. Lambo doesn't realize there's actually an opening into the natural. He could just run straight through that until it fixed itself. But 10 probes anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this was the safe call by Lambo. Kills 10 probes outside while you need to walk inside and then lose your links, right? That was the opposite of a sad kick if you're him. He must be really happy with that pickup.
Yeah, that is actually just awesome damage. 10 probes, especially when SKillous is just trying to saturate that 4th base. The last thing he wants to be doing is that's nice kills on the Lings, though. The last thing you want to be doing is having to replace those probes, not actually getting your 4th base active as soon as you wanted it to. And of course, these are all things which buy time for Lambo. Now he's on Hive to get those Lurker upgrades, and obviously then can get the Vipers in play as well, potentially to start abducting those Colossi. Again, these are all things which just buy time. As there's another attack straight up the center, we'll see which way he directs this one.
All right. At the same... Oh, this is going to be annoying for SKillous, but at the same time, he's poised to move into Lambo. There are 13 lurkers for Lambo, but no further upgrades. It looks like it's going to be enough to hold down this ramp. Here comes the Observer, the Phoenix encroaching. This is going to be a really important attack for SKillous. The game could be somewhat decided here. We'll see what happens. A lot of these Phoenixes are still seeing such good use, Wardy.
Yeah, the Phoenix lifting up the lurkers is a really, really useful way to, well, use them in a fight, right? You get rid of the lurker burrow, and that's really taking away a lot of what Lambo's relying on. Still is losing a lot of probes at home. Can Lambo defend with this army on this high ground? For the moment, it looks like he's honestly just getting there. The Archon count is going down. The Colossi will remain, but if it's just Colossi, they really do get kind of run over pretty quickly if they're on their own. And yeah, those lings have been really annoying throughout the entirety of this.
Yeah, and SKillous is doing his best to not give Lambo any time, but Lambo's already maxed, so it's just a matter of consolidating his army and packing a good punch. SKillous, under normal circumstances, Wardy might have been just happy taking down that 5th base, backing away and taking that great engagement that he initially took, but unfortunately, in the position that he finds himself is after Lambo did that beautiful run by, rather cost-efficient, and now it's just gonna be it.
Yeah, there's just no way these Colossi hold up, and the warping gets cancelled, all the Phoenix are dying, and Lambo is going to pick up that first game of the series. 1-0 lead for Lambo. And SKillous, now the pressure is really on. Now he cannot afford to lose a map if he wants to really secure his way through and out of this group. And it's actually looking dangerous as well. I mean, it's important to keep talking about the other matches. Marine Lord has 2-0'd Soul, which means that if SKillous gets 0-2'd, I'm pretty sure that is the route into the playoffs for Marine Lord. So SKillous needs to deliver right now.
All right, we'll see if he's able to, Wardy. But yeah, I mean, that counterattack did everything that that Lambo needed it to do, right? And it was so cheap. What was that, like 20 circlings and something like 7 banelings, 8 banelings, right? And that pretty much was the checkmate move. SKillous didn't have enough to warp in back at home and to hold it comfortably, and that meant that, you know, Lambo said, I've done enough damage with this 20 circlings that if you don't kill me right now, I win. Whereas I was saying otherwise, I think SKillous would have been pretty happy taking down that 5th and the drones in it and just backing away. So a little bit of a heartbreaking game for SKillous there.
It was a really good fight, honestly. Like, he was set up really well. You could see that Lambo was in some trouble. He lifts up all of those lurkers, but combined with losing 10 probes just before, to then lose the entire main base mineral line, it is just too much damage, right? You just don't really recover from that. And that's the issue. And then he's forced to keep on attacking, and you're attacking into not enough. You're not reinforcing as much as you could be as well. So yeah, it's a little bit rough there for SKillous in that first game, because honestly, I didn't mind how he was setting himself up. You know, the Phoenix did a good job. He kept a pretty good track on things. He did actually, for the most part, deny some of the Ling run bys without doing too much. It was just, you know, when he lost those 10 probes, that's when it all felt like it started to fall apart, and Lambo was able to make it work.
Yeah, he really did. SKillous has asked for a couple of minutes, so we will do that. But yeah, Wardy, I mean, to talk more about that game, it was not an easy game for Lambo, but he made very good decisions on the macro department, right? Droning up when he needed to drone up.
Yeah,
I love the Phoenix from SKillous, and it makes me wonder somewhat if it just comes into play the fact that they have played so much that he anticipates that Lambo's late game hinges on that lurker transition, or do you find that's just the norm in CVP right now?
I think if you get set up into Lingbane Hideout, which is what Lambo could do, right? Because he wasn't relying on roaches early with the way that SKillous opened. It was a Twilight, but it wasn't with anything that actually attacked him, right? There wasn't any Archon play, or there wasn't any depth play. So that allows you to go for that melee upgrade, so you can go straight into Lingbane Hydra. And then I think naturally the next step is just to go lurkers. Sometimes you can play Lingbane Hydra into Hive, but then honestly, like Lingbane Hydra into Hive, you kind of oftentimes just want lurkers anyway, especially when you get to Hive, those lurker upgrades come into play. So a little bit map dependent too. So definitely, you know, that's got something, you know, something of an impact as well, right? If it's a good map for lurkers, then you definitely go for it. There are some other options. Like if you're feeling really good, you can just trade with Lingbane Hydra again and again, and then go into Greater Spy and Broodlords. But yeah, for this game, sure, like, you know, just looked like Lambo wanted to go lurkers all along. And again, Skillous' army wasn't really bad against lurkers.
It was good against it.
Yeah.
Like the Phoenix did amazing. The lurkers didn't do anything, right? I mean, they stalled when the first push came, But after that, it was kind of just SKillous dominating the main fight. Lambo had to Lambo had to go Rambo. Yeah, he had to remax and try to stop him with the second wave. So again, if it wasn't for the counterattack, that would have been fantastic. So it kind of makes me wonder if SKillous actually had the upper hand moving into that moment in the game with the Phoenixes, because the lurkers did surprisingly poorly. Either way, SKillous is now here, guys. The wait is over, and we are loading into the second map, which will be Pillars of Gold.
Yeah, really important for SKillous to take a couple minutes and to reset his mind, right? Because again, we've talked about this. He's definitely kind of shaky under super high pressure scenarios, and this is as high pressure as it gets. You pretty much feel like you must win. You know, if you lose, you're in a lot of trouble, and your tournament life depends on it. And pretty much the biggest tournament out there right now in StarCraft 2. So yeah, big game for SKillous. Pretty much must win at this point based on what we know about results, especially if he doesn't pick up a map, because map score can become highly dependent here as well. So let's go into it and see if our Russian Protoss in the bottom left-hand side can bounce back from this 1-0 deficit. This is SKillous.
Or will he go Rambo? It is Lambo! For no team Satkek.
Oh, it's kind of
again.
Yeah, he's gonna get the hatchback off. You hate this? Yeah, it's horrible to play against, right?
Yeah, it just doesn't feel good at all. But I guess Zergs are used to it now, right? Like you were mentioning this, it seems like it happens every game.
Yeah, it happens like I'd say like 80% plus of games, right? Very rarely does a pros player say, you know what? I'm not too bothered about this. Like, it is an advantage. You know, it pushes the Zerg off. Yeah, it costs you some money, but it's nice to have this probe over here early as well. But yeah, there's just no real downside to really kind of going for the block based on the advantage it gives you. And if you're going for like a Twilight opener, especially, you know, the Glaives build, right, is the real example here, which is it's just so clean. It's really hits very powerful very quickly. And the, you know, mining time loss of having to take the third base instead, you know, transferring drones that extra distance, that can make it that much more difficult to defend that sort of attack, and it really leaves zero room for error.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, on larger maps, there are answers like going for a 16, sometimes even a 15 hatch just to make sure that you get it down. And then if you do that and your Protoss opponent scouted very early, then they're at a disadvantage, right? The other thing that I like doing, Wardy, is 12 pulling. 12 pulling is pretty decent because the Protoss is losing a little bit of economy in doing this. And furthermore, what I like to do personally, because they're so reliant on this very early scout to block the hatchery, is when I see the probe with my Overlord, which I do, I send a drone to the low ground to force out the pylon. And then they've dropped a pylon and scouted against a 12 pull. You see? So that's something that can work, especially on the shorter maps, I think.
Yeah, that's actually a really fun way of kind of taking advantage of this, right? So the beauty of StarCraft, there's always ways around. Maybe someday we're just a few days away from 12 pool being metacats. Who knows?
Yeah.
The Protoss keep this up. It's a really fun little thing though, because no one was really doing this at all until Zest did it at Katowice. I mean, people were doing it, but not super often. But Zest doing it at Katowice, he just said, yeah, I'm gonna like send my probe out instantly to guarantee the block. And since then, Protoss are like, yeah, that's actually really, really good. Oh my god.
It's crazy how it happens. Yeah, I mean, of course, there's been people who have done it since Wings of Liberty on and off, but no one really knows how good it is until, you know, someone just does it every game, and people have so much trouble with it that people just all start doing it. And that's definitely what can happen and what happened with Sester. So, yeah, sometimes, you know, it catches up some of these ideas. I always was super annoyed with it. I always wonder why they don't do this. I still wonder about the Terrans and the E-base, to be honest. but maybe I shouldn't wonder out loud.
Yeah, give it a couple months. Suddenly you've got an engineering bay on your natural third, fourth. It's like, where do you plan to?
Yeah, some Protoss are blocking the next two expansions too. You know, drop a pylon in the natural, go to the other expansions. Oh, they're annoying.
Hey, so you see this Glaives build then, we mentioned it, SKillous is going to go in toward it, so obviously this is kind of the more standard variation of SKillous, right? Where he is just playing a little bit more straight up. This is kind of the build we expect. Last game was that a little bit different. You know, Dark Shrine without a Robo, then double Stargate Phoenix. So this is SKillous saying, right, let's go for a bit more of a standard opener here. Lambo gets a pretty good scout in this, right? He's already making a round of Lings to defend the first wave of Adepts. Once you deal with this first wave of Adepts, then your Roaches again out, and you're able to deal with the extra Adept reinforcements.
All right. So do you like this position for Lambo then, Wardy? You must have seen this build play out a few times in recent history, huh?
Yeah, it's the correct setup. It works perfectly well. I love the Ling heavy style because it allows you to get the Roach on later. And the Lings can fight 8 Adepts, so this is fine at the moment. This is a shade you should never let complete with the Lings and the Queens there. So SKillous pulls back, and now he's going to get an extra round of Adept Warp-ins, and now you need Roaches to really make sure you can fight this. You can't fight this with just Lings anymore. But as you can see from Lambo, everything is very well timed out. He's got a Spine in this third, and that means I don't think this is a good shade-in because, well, he's even target firing down the Spine. One of the big things about a Spine, it takes priority on the Adept attack, so you don't auto to kill drones.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a misclick perhaps from SKillous, a miscalculation of some sort. I mean, you see the Spine there, you see units there, you definitely don't want to shade there. And it's not like he shaded in 2 places at once and was doing much with the other. Like, he had to just save these other Adepts, right?
And it's really rough for SKillous because he's setting up very aggressively after this, right? He's lost 8 Adepts, and now he's going into an Immortal and extra gateways. Lambo is super safe to already drone, and once he realizes this is an all-in, he's going to have a crazy amount of drones just to build units off of. And if you have that sort of economy safely to then build the units, it becomes really tough for SKillous to make anything actually happen here. And Lambo sees this Prism. He's keeping it at bay. I think he should have seen the units starting to move out now as well. I'd be surprised if he started many more workers. He is supply blocked, 5 Overlords coming up. And there is the potential that he's maybe made too many drones.
Oh, God, he just made 8 Overlords. This is the Erasers.
Yeah, this is not good for Lambo. This is like worst case scenario after being in a really good position, because now you're realizing, oh, you really are committed. But the macro mistake is, well, it's really tough for Lambo as these Adepts try to shade forward. The Queens are here. It's just not that much Roach Ravager. And there's 2 Immortals to back this up from SKillous.
Yeah, you talked about losing 6 Adepts, but it's the same price as making like that many extra Overlords, essentially, right? So that evens out, and now it's kind of anyone's game after that. SKillous pushing aggressively. He has a lot. Lambo has been supply blocked for so long. He was also droning. This is looking good, Wardy.
Yeah, it's looking really, really good for SKillous, but Lambo is starting to get some extra units out now, at least. Obviously, now he's been able to put all 57 workers of economy into unit production. And I will say it doesn't feel like SKillous is making a lot of progress killing off workers or anything. It feels very, very slow to get anywhere. He's kind of put himself between the natural and the third, so it's given Lambo more time, but there are so many Adepts.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that SKillous is confident and knows what he's doing exactly, because I am very worried for him. I feel, like you said, that he is giving Lambo a lot of time. I'm surprised he didn't take shades into those Roaches and Ravagers earlier. He could have wiped them all. He is prioritizing, of course, keeping the Immortals alive, but at this rate, Lambo is gonna be able to use all of those Overlords that he made.
Wow, the extra Roach Ravager has to back away the rest of the Adepts coming through. I think Lambo's just got enough because there's not enough Adepts to really support anymore. You can see that Roach number's really risen up. A few more Lings would be amazing just to tank some of these Immortal shots, because obviously they chew through the Roaches. We see the next warp-in from the Prism. I mean, if those 3 Ravagers can just pile the Prism down, that would also stop some warp-ins for a while, and that can make the difference at this point. As Lambo, he had to cancel his lair while seeing this coming, so he's starting to rebuild that now. He's now forces the Prism away. The Immortals have to lift back, and SKillous is not going to make it work.
Oh, indecision, Wardy. Maybe SKillous should join Team Sadkek after this. He's not going to be happy, that's for
the
sure.
Prism's going to go down! Oh. Wow, now there's no saving the Immortals, and that is GG Lambo.